If you've ever seen the movie Moana, you know this move from The Rock. I won't sing the song, but it's "You're Welcome." Starting with Iron Man 1, and over the last decade, they've been able to produce 19 different installations and able to gross a ton of cash. I think we need to move. I should start giving out like book recommendations. Like a great book's Moonwalking with Einstein if you want to increase your memory. Studios, we have the utmost respect for Marvel Studios. You should see Mr. Driscoll's face every time we have to talk about Avengers. Welcome to today's 7 Super Tips. I'm your host, Erik Qualman. A lot of you know me as Equal Man. We have a unique show for you here today. It's our 1-year anniversary. That's right, cannot thank you enough out there. We've been doing this now for a year because of all your support. We even have a Super You podcast now because of all your support. So I can't thank you enough. Keep watching, keep listening, and keep sending your comments. For this episode, we thought we'd do something special. So I and the team sat down and hand-selected 7 super tips that really resonated with us over the last year. So without further ado, happy birthday to us, and here's your 7 super tips.
If we're going to find our way back to each other, we have to understand and know empathy, because empathy is the antidote to shame. If you put shame in a petri dish, it needs 3 things to grow exponentially: secrecy, silence, and judgment. If you put the same amount of shame in a petri dish and douse it with empathy, it can't survive. The 2 most powerful words when we're in struggle: me too. And so I'll leave you with this thought. If we're going to find our way back to each other, vulnerability is going to be that path. And I know it's seductive to stand outside the arena, because I think I did it my whole life, and think to myself, I'm going to go in there and kick some ass when I'm bulletproof and when I'm perfect. And that is seductive. But the truth is, that never happens. And even if you got as perfect as you could and as bulletproof as you could possibly muster, when you got in there, that's not what we want to see. We want you to go in. We want to be with you and across from you. And we just want for ourselves and for the people we care about and the people we work with to dare greatly.
I found that with depression, one of the most important things you could realize is that you're not alone. You're not the first to go through it. You're not going to be the last to go through it. And oftentimes it happens. You feel like you're alone, and you feel like it's only you, and you're in your bubble, and I wish I had someone at that time who could just pull me aside and, hey, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. So I wish I knew that. Just gotta remember, hold on to that fundamental quality of faith. Have faith that on the other side of your pain is something good. After about a month and a half of staying in that little apartment and cleaning, I got a phone call from the head coach of the team who cut me, the head coach of the Calgary Stampeders. He called me and he said, hey, I know we cut you, but I'd like you to come back. I said, okay, I appreciate that, coach. Thank you very much. I'll think about it. And he said, okay, great. I hung up the phone, and my dad said, you gonna do it, right? I said, no, I don't think so. I think I'm done with that. And he goes, what? I said, my gut tells me I'm done. He said, what are you gonna do? I took a deep breath. I said, I'd like to get into the business. He said, what business? I said, the wrestling business. He said, you are throwing it all away. It is the worst mistake you will ever make. He said, you're ruining your career. I said, maybe I'll be no good. But I feel like in my heart I have to do this. And I either need you to train me or need you to not train me. My dad rose to the occasion. He said, I'll train you. And it wound up being one of the greatest chapters in my life.
When you grow up, you tend to get told that the world is the way it is, and you're your life is just to live your life inside the world, try not to bash into the walls too much, try to have a nice family life, have fun, save a little money. But life, that's a very limited life. Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact, and that is everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you. And you can change it. You can influence it. You can build your own things that other people can use. And the minute that you understand that you can poke life and actually something will, if you push in, something will pop out the other side, that you can change it, you can mold it. That's maybe the most important thing, is to shake off this erroneous notion that life is there and you're just going to live in it, versus embrace it, change it, improve it, make your mark upon it. I think that's very important. And however you learn that, once you learn it, you'll want to change life and make it better, because it's kind of messed up in a lot of ways. Once you learn that, you'll never be the same again.
And I want you to just think for a minute, because we all have, I love to use the analogy, the inner snooze button. You have these amazing ideas that bubble up, right? You've been watching people all day, and I guarantee you, like, ping pong balls, boom, 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 boom. You've got an idea, oh, I should do this, I should do that. And every time you have an idea, what do? Boop, hit the snooze. What's the first decision you made this morning? I bet it was to go back to bed. Yep, the first decision today, I'm 1 in 400 trillion, I'm gonna go back to sleep. And I get it. Your bed is comfortable. It's cozy, it's warm. If you're lucky, you've got, like somebody that you love next to you, or in my case, I've got my husband and my 2 kids and possibly the dog. And the reason why I'm bringing up this first decision that you made today and the inner snooze alarm is because in any area of your life that you want to change, there's one fact that you need to know. Just one. You're never going to feel like it. Ever. No one's coming. Motivation isn't happening. You're never going to feel like it. Scientists call it activation energy. That's what they call the force required to get you to change from what you're doing on autopilot to do something new. So try this test tomorrow. You think you're so fancy. I know you're attending TED. Try this. Tomorrow morning, set your alarm for 30 minutes earlier. And then when it goes off, take those sheets, throw them off, and stand up and start your day. No snooze, no delay, no I'll just wait here for 5 seconds because Mel's not standing here. Do it. And the reason why I want you to do it is because you will come face to face with the physical, and I mean physical, force that's required to change your behavior. Do you think that somebody who needs to lose weight ever feels like going on a diet? Of course not. Do you think they ever feel like eating boiled chicken and peas instead of a croissant? I don't think so. The activation energy required to get your ass away from your computer and out your front door to go on the walk you said that you were going to go on is the exact same amount of force that it takes you to push yourself out of a warm bed and into a cold room.
What do I worry about? I worry about brand control. My brand is huge now, right? And one thing I fight with every day, I want to make sure I don't dilute the brand. I don't do anything, make any major mistakes, because any mistake will hurt your brand. And so those are the things that keep me up at night, just making sure my brand remains strong. And so that's a good message for all these young men and women watching your show, is make sure that your brand is everything. And you will always be able to make money if your brand is strong, even if you go bankrupt. If your brand is strong, you'll be able to still make some money. Donald Trump proved that. He bounced right back. Look where he is today. You know, he went through that phase, came right back because he kept the brand strong, and that's important.
There are no mistakes. There really aren't any, because you have a supreme destiny. When you're in your little mind, in your little personality mind, where you're not centered, where you really don't know who you are, that you come from something greater and bigger, and that we really all are the same. When you don't know that, you get all flustered. You get stressed all the time, wanting something to be what it isn't. There is a supreme moment of destiny calling on your life. Your job is to feel that, to hear that, to know that. And sometimes when you're not listening, you get taken off track. You get in the wrong marriage, the wrong relationship, you take the wrong job. Yeah, but it's all leading to the same path. There are no wrong paths. There are none. There's no such thing as failure, really, because failure is just that thing trying to move you in another direction. So you get as much from your losses as you do from your victories, because the losses are there to wake you up.
You know, one of the things that I tell my mentees, I tell my daughters, is that our first job in life as women, I think, is to get to know ourselves. And I think a lot of times we don't do that. We spend our time pleasing, satisfying, looking out into the world to define who we are, listening to the messages, the images, the limited definitions that people have of who we are. Mm-hmm. And that's true for women of color. For sure, there is a limited box that we are put in.
Yeah.
And if we live by that limited definition, we miss out on a lot of who we are. But it takes taking the time to know who you are to be able to deal with the onslaught of negative messages that you're bound to get. So for me, I came into this with a pretty clear sense of myself. And some of that comes with age, some of that comes with experience, some of that comes from being fortunate enough to have been raised by a loving mother, strong, focused, and a father who loved me dearly. So I fortunately came into this situation with a really clear sense of who I was. So when you hear the smack talking from outside the world, it's easy to sort of brush that off because I know who I am. But one of the things I knew, because people asked all throughout the campaign, what are your issues going to be? What are you going to be like as First Lady? And I said, I have to wait until I get there to figure out what that's going to feel like for me. Right? I specifically did not read other First Ladies' books because I didn't want to be influenced by how they define the role. I knew that I would have to define this role very uniquely and specifically to me and who I was. So I came in thinking about who I wanted to be in this position and who I needed to be for my girls, first of all. So you remember, you know, Malia and Sasha were little itty bitties when we came in the office. I mean, it still moves me to tears to think about the first day I put them in the car with their Secret Service agents to go to their first day of school. And I saw them leaving and I thought, what on earth am I doing to these babies? So I knew right then and there my first job was to make sure they were going to be whole and normal and cared for in the midst of all this craziness. And then I started to understand that if I was going to protect them, I had to, number one, protect myself and protect my time. So I knew going into this role that I didn't want to waste any time, that any time I spent away from my kids, and I actually took this on even before I became First Lady. Even as a lawyer, as a vice president at a hospital, one of the things I realized is that if you do not take control over your time and your life, other people will gobble it up. If you don't prioritize yourself, you constantly start falling lower and lower on your list. Your kids fall lower and lower on your list.
Wow, I can't believe we're celebrating our 1-year anniversary. I can't thank you enough. It's all because of you that we're able to do this. So please keep watching, please keep subscribing, and please keep sending in who you want to see next. So thank you, happy birthday, and remember, it's not what we take from the world, it's what we leave behind. Wow, I can't believe it's been a year. Wait, let me do it again. Wow, I can't believe it's been a year. Wow, wow. Wow. So happy 1-year birthday.